Firstly, bad luck, mate. Where do you think you lost it ultimately?
Look, obviously we got ourselves into a winning position at three-quarter time, and look, the advantage of the week off may have just been enough in that last quarter. They just seemed to have a little bit more run. I thought the centre clearances were important in the last quarter, and that hurt us getting that first ball use forward. And once Old Brighton got that early goal, the crowd got up and they were up and about. So, look, we gave ourselves every opportunity, and that's, I suppose, the disappointing thing that we got ourselves there, we just couldn't finish off. So perhaps a little bit of it was to do with the week off and them being a little bit fresher.
It felt at the end of the third, you guys seemed pretty happy in the camp with how you contained them in that third, and you were within striking distance. Breeze did fall away though. How was your feeling going into that last quarter?
Look, I had a really good feeling about it, but perhaps the breeze factor may have come into it psychologically, where we may have thought we've done enough. And as we all know, that in finals footy it's 100 minutes and you play to the siren. And unfortunately, Old Brighton, to their credit, were just absolutely fanatical throughout the whole game. But they just lifted in that last quarter, and it was a terrific win.
You had a good look at them last week, or 2 weeks ago when you played in the second semi. How did you change your side to adapt? Because they were very physical in that match. And you guys have played an extra game, which you've spoken about. But what did you do to your team to get them ready for this big game today?
Look, we were really disappointed for the second semi. You win and lose. The second semi, though, we were just beaten at the contest. We were second at the footy. It was a really disappointing first half in that second semi. We changed the personnel a bit, and what we wanted to do was just mix things up, go in a little bit unpredictable, just with a few of our positional moves. The only downside to that is that Old Brighton get to have another look at us in the preliminary final, and obviously I saw a few heads popping up at quarter time and three-quarter time huddle that looked very familiar. So they had a little bit of a look, so they got a sense of where we're going. We tried a couple of positional moves today that perhaps didn't quite work. However, look, we gave ourselves every opportunity and just didn't come off.
Still pretty young side. Excited about next year? Do you think you'll go pretty well?
Look, we're in a much better situation than we were at the start of 2012. So in that regard, I'm really happy with where we're at. We still need to bring in a couple more experienced players, and especially in the midfield, and we'd love another key defender. But look, you can only go on what you've experienced, and 2 years ago, going into 2012, we're in a much better situation now than we were, with a few of the young boys coming through the school. So we've got more depth, and that's important.
Got your eye on anyone, or is an older person come in, or you'll just wait and see and go from here?
No, we'll wait. Yeah, we'll wait and see. I mean, there's going to be a lot of phone calls being made over the next month to see who's around and who wants to play A grade and who perhaps is playing B and C grade that want to be playing A grade. So they're the phone calls that we have to make just to see any interest.
Haskell played last minute or came into the side. How's he gone through the season? I mean, we've seen a bit of him before, been very impressed with him. Haven't heard much about him.
Yeah, look, Cam's a player from the school. He went off and played at Canterbury for a couple of seasons and came back this year. I'd say of his season, he's probably the first 6 or 7 games was the best footy he played in this year. We just thought we'd mix things up in the second semi-final. We left him out, and look, we think we probably made a mistake there in terms of he's got good size, he uses the footy pretty well, and he's really fit. So I was really pleased for him that he came back in the side last week for the preliminary final, had a good game, and obviously deserved his spot today.
He's another player that to me has matured a lot from the time that I've seen. I was surprised that he wasn't in your top 22.
Yeah, look, he missed a couple of weeks with osteitis pubis around 15, 16 I think it was. So there was a little bit of a question mark on how he was travelling, and look, he proved, with the 3 changes we made from round 18 going into the second semi, he proved on the track between second semi and preliminary final that he was going really well. So I was just really rapt that he was able to make his way into the team, and yeah, I thought he was okay today.
What happened to our man of the match from the old Caulfield, the game against Caulfield Variants?
Nick Chamberlain. Look, Nick Chamberlain's had a fantastic season. He came from a guy who played 6 senior games last year and really struggled with confidence. He did a massive pre-season. Unfortunately, form deserted him late in the year. He had a disappointing game by his own standards in the second semi-final, and just found it hard. We missed out on the preliminary final, and then I suppose the decision was, do we go with what we won with last week, and in the end it went against him.
The game opened up. I thought they were pretty physical against you in the first 5 minutes of the game again. Then interesting that Simon actually thought that you guys were pretty physical on them, but I probably didn't see it that way. I thought, obviously a great first quarter. You're in a great position 20 minutes into the quarter, and then I just got the impression that you got a little bit rattled by the physical front of the whole quarter and the constant pressure of it being played down that end and your leak goals at the end. Did you sort of sense that?
It's always a difficult situation when you've had a really good 20 minutes and things are going okay, whether you do change things up for that final minute to save things, and we were juggling with that. Look, we knew from the second semi-final that things were going to be physical, and that's the one thing we took out of that second semi-final, is that we're not going to be pushed around and hit like
There was a bit of that, but it was reactive to what they threw at you.
Yeah, but I thought we matched them physically today, which we definitely didn't do in the second semi.
I said during the commentary, I wanted one of your guys to actually tackle strongly one of their guys as a demonstration of you're not going to do this to us.
I think there was a situation though, and I can't remember whether it was the first or second quarter, where Heath Banfield, Hendra had come in off the line a couple of times pretty hard, and Heath Banfield saw him coming, and I think if you see Hendra's shoulder, you might see some bit of a graze from the centre wicket area.
He's a great warrior, Lee. And the other thing is, the start of the last quarter, when which was the other crucial point in the game where they got goals, and they did play well in the second quarter into the win, but they opened up very aggressively again and got the goals, and then their follow-up goals from that were just bash crash goals. They got it back to the furthest guy out of the melee of players and snap goals, and I thought there was a point there. It was that point maybe 7-8 minutes into the quarter, and for the next 10 minutes, where your body language was almost succumbing to the circumstance, a bit as it had late in the first quarter.
Yeah, look, I think you take it back a step. They got the first goal, and we had Ben Howell had a shot, a right foot snap, which momentum's a fantastic thing, and I think if he scores that goal, that's the 2.5 minute, 3 minute mark of the final quarter. It's back to a goal. It's all square. Look, they in terms of Brighton, we played them in round 9 down there. They, physically on that small ground, they were stronger at it. On the wide open spaces of Bulleen, we ran them, so it was a convincing win to us. So that's 1-1. Here 2 weeks ago, got thrashed. And
that was a windier day.
Yeah, windier day.
So it does close up, becomes a close game here in the wind.
Yeah, and we just didn't start well. And then today was a very even contest. So part of me sort of thought it was going to go one way or the other in terms of it'll be a 6-goal win to us or a 6-goal win to them. And the fact it was as close as it was great for everyone that was here.
Do you bother reviewing with the guys afterwards over a beer next week, and do you give ticks and crosses to guys on how they went today?
Yeah, definitely. Because one of the things that you take out of this is it's a big game. Who performed well, who didn't play well under pressure. So we'll look at the tape. It's really pleasing that most, if not all, will be running around again for us. So you definitely have to look at it, and that's what cost a few players positions from the second semi-final. Is that we're playing in one of the biggest games in amateur footy, the second semi-final in B grade, and we had a lot of non-performers. So yeah, you've got to analyse each performance. How
many of your 22 were ticks today?
I haven't actually done any ticking or crossing, but that'll be done, and I probably won't do it tomorrow. I'll do it in the next week.
You had your first quarter, you said you played well in the first 20 minutes, especially where you kept them to 1 goal. You were kicking against the breeze, a nice little breeze actually to kick with. What did you do strategically to stop them? Like 1 goal in 20 minutes, kicking against the breeze. They come out hard. What did you do to stop it?
Well, look, one of the things, we just knew the first 10 minutes was going to be a scramble and, at a frantic pace. So we actually, even though we lost the toss, we thought, you know what, there's 10 minutes. If we can, go with them physically, there's 10 minutes of a quarter where they've got the advantage of the breeze, where we've wiped that 10 minutes. And that's what happened. We just wanted to match them physically. Late in the quarter, we dropped the player back, rolled up a line. But sometimes, it sounds fantastic, but sometimes that doesn't work all the time, because that means all of a sudden they can work their good players all of a sudden free. And look, as I said before, with the do you do it, do you not do it? We did it. And look, again, at quarter time, I think it was 4 goals 5 to 1 goal straight. Inside 50s was 12 to them, 9 to us. So we'd had plenty of the ball. May have been able to kick another goal or two against the breeze, but it didn't happen.
You were going to kick with it?
Sorry?
You were going to kick with it?
It was going to go either way. It was going to go either way. I left it up to Brendan.
Well,
Sometimes when the opposition win the toss, it takes it all out of your hands.
It does, but St Bede's kicked against it. It was like in the final they won in 2008, when everyone had always kicked with the breeze, and they knew on the Thursday we were going to be kicking against it.
Yeah.
It was a strategy that they employed to try and not catch the other side out, but everyone on their ground knew what they were doing.
Yeah, and it takes that 50-50 are we kicking, because the opposition will kick with it.
Yeah.
So you're going to be kicking against it unless you get the bluff where the opposition kick against it.
Depends how you play.
And I've only ever seen one side open up. Xavier out one day kicked 9 goals in the first quarter. It's very rare that a game is done and dusted with the win in the first quarter here.
It's usually how that sides kick effectively, more than they'll get their play, but there can be a lot of points kicked.
Yeah.
You need to be effective shots at goal. And Rambo again, I think he might have kicked 2 goals 5 today. Is that correct? He doesn't not get enough shots on goal.
No, and look, he missed a couple of crucial ones. And look, it wasn't just Rambo. We had 3 shots in this pocket down here in the third quarter, and I think we got a point and 2 out of bounds on the full. And you look and say, well, maybe if one of them went through, possibly 2, we go in at 3/4 time in front, but it didn't happen. So
The Northern League and the Eastern League has been a pretty good hunting ground from you of late. Is that a target that you'll be doing over summer, or is it some of those players like Callum Pole and, as you say,
Luke Piccioni.
Luke, and Chamberlain and that?
Yeah.
Is that just falling into your lap?
Look, Luke Piccioni, Phil Gort used to be a coach at Old Trinity, and he used to work at Loyola. So we had a number of, in the mid-2000s, we had a number of players come down from Loyola to the footy club.
They don't have a side, do they? Play on?
No, so we were really fortunate where we had the school team, and we had basically Year 12 Loyola boys coming down as well. Nick and Dan Chamberlain are Yarra Valley boys who wanted to play. Yarra Valley are in D2, I think it is. They wanted to play at the highest level possible. Dave Wildsmith came on board because of Nick Chamberlain and Dan Chamberlain, and I've forgotten who the other one was.
Callum Pole from Hurstbridge.
Yeah, Callum Pole was someone who, a very good player. He was someone who just rolled up. So
because you had a couple in previous years. I remember Joel Gibson and Timmy Shivers. They all come from that area as well. So it felt like that area at that time that was a real target. That you were a big A-grade club and the Diamond Valley was struggling a bit. It kind of felt like it was a real target for you guys.
From memory, Shivers and Gibson were from Hurstbridge as well. Were they?
Timmy Shivers is actually from Diamond Creek. He went back to Hurstbridge after.
There was an individual who came down to the club for a couple of years who was able to sort of introduce us to those players, but he's no longer at the footy club.
Adam, appreciate it. Thank you very much, and good luck for next year in Premier.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.